Hello, it's me, Annalisa from My Spiritual Friend. I have one person here. Yay! I'm going to wait a few minutes to join in. I was not sure, or I couldn't get down here sooner. I needed a shower. So that's how it works. Who's here? Say hello. So I want to, hi, Rose. Good to see you. Hi, Oho Divina. So I wanted to do this. Hi, Sandy. Because so many of you have questions that are sort of more related to your own psychic experiences. And hi, Mystic Dreamer. Hi, Karema. I'm good. I had to get my daughter down for a nap and I wanted to do a workout today. So I have wet hair. If my Invisalign, if the lisp bothers you, please let me know. I can just take them out. I just want to keep them in as long as possible. You do. It's a great water bottle. Hey, Vera. So if you guys ever have any, experiences you're having, or what do you do, or how do you open up your own intuition? I know when I first started, I sort of was reading as many books as I could. And I found that sometimes the books didn't address exactly what I was having experiences with. And it's nice to always have like feedback from someone. Throw me some questions, Rose. I'm here. Or even if you just want to say like, I just need to share this with somebody where I don't feel like a weirdo. This is weirdo-free area. Anything goes. I don't have, like, whenever somebody goes, I have something to tell you and it's weird, I'm like, nothing's weird to me. So I think this is a good place to share. So you don't feel alone. So I'm just waiting for your questions, Rose. You've got so many. Okay, Rose says, I've been meditating and trying to focus on my abilities. No. This is not a psychic reading. This is not psychic reading. This is really just a discussion. So I'm not doing any readings right now. I'm just doing a discussion about your metaphysical experiences, your psychic, your inspirational, spiritual. Okay, so you said I've been meditating and trying to focus on my abilities, but you're not sure if you're doing it right. Well, what are you experiencing? That's okay, Oho. I'm glad you came in to see me anyway. Thank you. No, Karima, I'm not doing psychic readings right now. It's just a question and answer, a discussion. I had this one where I was Mystic Dreamer says, I had this one where I was at a birthday party and walked past this kid and saw fire on her. She died in a house fire 2 years later. That's crazy, right? And I've had experiences too where I woke up in the middle of the night and I had a vision, and it was my husband and some of his fraternity brothers standing around. And I knew that one of them was going to pass away, but I didn't know who. So for a whole year, I basically held on to this. And every time I'd see one of them, I'd think, oh my God, maybe that's the last time I'll see him, or maybe, and it was about a year later that one of them passed away. And sometimes we get stuff and we don't know exactly what it means. And we're not really supposed to know. I had another dream where I was giving a reading to somebody. I was getting all of this information. I knew it was about a reading and giving a reading to somebody. And a few months later, my mother's, I should just say, a friend of the family passed away, and I was giving a reading to this person's spouse. And it turned out that dream was really the reading I was giving her. So we're not always supposed to know. Sometimes we just get information, and it's more about validating that we actually have this connection to spirit. All right, where were we? Okay, so Rose says, I can sense spirits or energies around me, but I'm not sure if they are good ones or bad ones. So for me, if it's a positive energy or a higher vibrational energy, there's no fear attached to it. There's no anxiety. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes when I used to connect into spirit, I'd always feel a little anxious or nervous beforehand. But then I realized, that was just my energy getting vibrationally moving to that level. But if they're bad, you know it. It's a heavier, darker energy. And the other thing you can do is before you start your meditation, you set your intention. So it's I surround myself with a white light. I allow only the energies with the highest love and light to come through or surround me. Anything else that's not for my highest good is I'm not allowed to sense or is not around me. I'm not connecting or tuning into. And I've always found too, if it's positive, if they're positive, they communicate loving, kind energy things. If they're negative, there's always this fear-based attachment to it, or a negative kind of dwelling thing. Because even when you get information that doesn't seem happy and positive, like you might have a struggle coming up, there's a difference when it's from a negative energy versus a loving energy. A loving energy will still say it with love and care of like how to angle things and move things, or what you might want to do to proceed further, how to take care of yourself. Whereas um, a negative energy will push you towards a sad feeling or a horrible feeling rather than a healing, cathartic feeling. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked the video. I try to, my goal is in anything that I do here, whether it's during my readings or during this discussion or during my meditation videos, because Rose said she tried the meditation video, and I can post a link to that after this goes live. That she said it felt really calming, and that's how it should feel when you are doing any spiritual work. It should feel calming. And Rose says, I felt the really heavy ones and know right away that they're not good. Right. So I wasn't sure about the ones that make me feel a little. Sometimes if you feel a little anxious, it's just your vibrations connecting. And here's the other thing: if you connect in with them and you don't like what you're hearing, or you're not comfortable with what you're hearing, you send them away. That's the one thing we forget, is that Hollywood teaches us that these things are more powerful than we are, and that's not true. This is our space. This is our place to incarnate, and we hold our space and set our boundaries. And it could be the fear of the unknown, but I don't think it's that. I think I would just try that. If you start thinking of it as it's just your little, like, when they show on going back to the movies, like they'll show like a radio show and it'll be like the red lights on it, and it'll blink before it'll go on. Or if you go to a Broadway show, there'll be like a little ding that warns you that the show is going to start and the doors are going to close. Consider that anxiety as that little ding of like, okay, you're going to make your connection in with spirit now. And that might give you a little bit of sense of like learning to accept it and kind of move beyond it rather than focusing on that anxiety feeling. Mystic dreamer, when you say you feel like you always have a loving energy around you, a female energy, it's probably your guide. That's a feeling I get as I read that. I don't always know my guides' names. I don't always know what they look like, but I know that there's a sense of calm when they're around. So I'm not super worried about who they are. As long as I feel okay about it, I'm super happy with it. Mystic Dreamer, you said you had a dream very vivid about 9/11 months before it happened. Many of us did. I had a dream about it where I was in nursing school at the time when I had the dream, and I saw and we had to wear all white, worst. And I saw all of my peers, my nursing student friends around me, and at first we were staged at a hospital, outside the hospital, and there was all these people lined up and all these gurneys lined up, and we were waiting for a lot of people. And then we were walking around these square buildings that were about a story or two tall, and they were perfectly square, and everything was white. The buildings were white, all of the streets were white, like everything was white. We were wearing white, and there was no one around. And the sense was that there was no one coming to rescue. And then after 9/11 happened, you realize that the footprints of the buildings were square and everything was covered in white from the ash and the soot. So you aren't the only one that had the premonition. And it's because when something is such a large collective event, a lot of us who are intuitive will tune into that and get our own versions of that. A vision and a dream. So a vision is actually in my waking state. Sock Monkey said, how do you know the difference between a vision and a dream? A dream is a dream. So I might have a precognitive dream or a psychic dream or an intuitive dream. These are all different names, just nomenclature, how you name things. And a vision for me is I might wake up out of my sleep and get like, it's almost like a movie and it's my third eye. So I might have my eyes open, but I'm seeing it all sort of in my mind's eye. Sometimes I see visions like in front of me where I'll be looking down a street and I'll see things that are going to happen in the future, but like maybe new buildings coming up or things like that. But it's always in my waking state. That's for me. That's how I define the two. Mystic Dreamer said, I had this one where I was at a birthday party. Oh, you said the thing about the person on passed away. Oh, good. Nicole, I'm glad you like this. Share your stuff too. Mystic Dreamer says, I was flying behind an eagle in the dream, felt a lot of pain. At the end, we flew into a beautiful sunset. That could just be a way of working out sort of like the warnings that you're working through your own healing and letting go of things that are no longer working for you. Rosewater, I've heard about cord cutting and cord release. I've tried cord release. I was wondering which one you recommend. To me, I think it's the same thing. Cord release is more, when you say it, it's like kind of like removing the roots of it out of you, right? And sometimes you have to do it more than once. And it's just because the more defined connection you will have with somebody, the deeper connection, the longer the relationship, whatever it is, the harder it is, like the more it takes to kind of remove it. And sort of if you think of it like, are you removing a splinter, which is a less of a connection versus having to remove and regrow a limb, like and heal that area? Which one is bigger and how much more healing and how much more work does it take to put into it? That's the way I look at it. And also it can be more traumatic if you try to remove something that's a very deep connection all at once. And I know there's somebody out there who goes, oh no, you can do it. You can. But for most of us, for most of it, it's just easier. It's a little more easier to accept. Hi, Julie. That was, so she said, I had a dream. I got a hug from my mom who passed away years ago and it was real and I didn't want her to go away. So, that was, a lot of people have those dreams. They connect in easier when they're dreaming rather than when they're awake. And that's because we, shut down our left brain or shut down our ego, and we're able to allow for that possibility for them to connect in. We we suspend our belief, right? Our disbelief. Is that how it is? We suspend our disbelief for a moment while we're dreaming, and we're allowed for them to connect in with us. So it was real. It was a connection with her. And it doesn't have to end. It's just that also in our dreams, we're able to feel more, right? If we're not as open as like someone like myself, you can feel the hug and everything else, and we can release that freaked out moment. and she'll come back to you in your dreams. That's not the only time. My sister's keeper says, my dad came to me to say he was leaving, and then they called and said he passed away. It's almost 3 years ago, and I feel really sad lately. Sometimes our connection to them will pick up more, and that's just a part of grief. This isn't the psychic part. When we say goodbye, the anniversaries are harder and things like that. So be kind to yourself about that and know that. And what a gift it was that he came to you and said goodbye. But it's not really goodbye. He's still around you. But it's I think a really beautiful gift that he did that for you. And when they do that too, that's always usually somebody who has more spiritual while they're here on earth, embodied on earth, who do those kind of things for us. Yes, Rose, the other party does. Oh, sometimes, right? So they may feel it and not know that they're feeling the cord cutting. They may not know what's going on. I know that I just, I figured out that, so like if you think of law of attraction, right? And what you put out comes back to you, and sort of how you treat yourself kind of pulls in that energy. It creates a magnet. So if you're treating yourself in an unkind, negative way, negative self-speak, very hard on yourself, you'll pull in that energy from an unknowing source, right? And usually the unknowing source is a person close to you. So they may start thinking negative about you in their head. And so you're pulling that energy towards you. So as you're cutting energy, I mean, there's a lot of, it's sort of like a quantum physicsy thing, but they'll feel that energy cut, but they may not understand what's going on or what it is. And they may not feel it in a direct sense. Like they may not feel pain in their stomach if you're connected in the solar plexus chakra. They may have indigestion, or they may be kind of in a funk and think about you a little bit, or do their own kind of closing. But you can do that as you do core cutting. You can sort of do it for the highest good of everybody involved, because whenever you do anything in a metaphysical way or spiritual way, if you do it with love, it's always better for everybody involved, especially yourself. That's really beautiful, Ellen, that she said that. And it's true. She said a couple of weeks ago, my mother died. She came to me in a dream. She said she was not really dead. I understand the dream more than when I had it. I was 13 when she passed away. So because spirit really never is dead. I mean, I personally don't have a lot of family members that hang out with me. At least I don't think they do. Any of you can see them, let me know. Or they don't, if they do, they're not letting me known, but it's like sort of don't need that. But they're always available if I do want to tap in and speak to them and connect with them. It's just their physical, their car is gone, but they're still there. Car meaning like if we're a person driving a car, like our soul is our person, driving the car is the body. That's really beautiful, Rose. See, you know what else I like about these discussions is that you guys can connect with each other and recognize that, see, it's like really more than one of us have these. If you like this kind of a thing, if you like this discussion and me doing something like this, please like and subscribe and hit the bell. I don't know. I kind of came to this conclusion. I don't know what success is really for me. I'm not sure where I'm putting it. I know I want to do these things to help others. If I make some money off of it, great. But I really want to be here to help people. And kind of, I had a really hard time with finding connections with people who could be mentors and guides to me. And anyway, so if you like this sort of a thing, just like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And it's nice to have a community of people who can connect to, spiritually speaking, where you feel comfortable and safe. That's really wonderful, Mystic Dreamer. That's good for you. She said these days it's come easy to me project things. Most of the time, 90%, 8% accurate, refining my psychic muscle. I never say what my percentage of accuracy is. I just know that I'm human. I have the human experience. And so I'm not always correct. And maybe my interpretation of it's not right. I always trust my guides. So I say my guides are 100% correct. I trust them. I just may not always interpret it correctly. And that happens. And it sort of takes the pressure off of me too. Nicolina, you can say whatever you want. Go ahead. I'm not doing psychic readings right now, though. We're just a psychic, friendly, neighborly discussion. So they're talking about the prayer that there was. Okay. Julie Owens, I love being able to talk to others that believe. I know, me too, right? I really do. Like, I sort of feel like like I'm a complete introvert. I am the definition of it. I really hate small talk, and I always think there's so much more wonderful things about things about us and that are like meatier and deeper and like cooler. And why not talk about that and open up about that? Yes, you have to have your boundaries and all of that, and people should earn it. But I think people are so much more fascinating than how's the weather. So, You never told anyone to that before. Well, thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for trusting us and feeling comfortable, Rose. That's really awesome. Um, Hi, Brett. Oh, good. I'm glad you're joining us. You know, I think about you so much because I feel bad that I still feel bad. I was wrong about your dog passing, but maybe, and my friend and I have talked about this. She's also a psychic, and she sort of picked up on it. But and I said, well, why would I get it and you not? And she said, well, maybe you, or I said, well, maybe I wasn't supposed to share. Like maybe I wasn't supposed to share that with you. Maybe you weren't supposed to know that ahead of time. I don't know, but I still feel bad about that. I'm sorry. How's your new puppy? Are things calming down? When I meditate, I feel, Miriam says, when I meditate, I feel sometimes this pressure from my temples. So this can be your third eye opening up. So it can be here through here because your eyes, your vision and things like that. That's sort of what I feel. I also feel like sometimes my ear chakras are here. So it's just sort of like that opening up of all of that. Just allow it. If it feels to be too much, breathe into it. So kind of ask them to slow down the opening to make it more comfortable for you. Ellen said, "Oh, Ellen was asking if somebody was raised asking Rose if she was raised Catholic, Catholicism about Mary being conceived without sin." Yeah, they do actually. All of Christianity follows that, but I don't know. Let's not get into religion here, because I mean, I could talk to you about how that's like sort of like a lot of Christianity is based on pagan religion and them trying to develop Christianity and to get more people to join it. So they sort of like pulled pagan holidays and things into it in order to make it all fit. Miriam, what are you doing wrong? Hang, when I meditate, I feel something. You're not doing it wrong at all. You're actually doing it 100% right, and you're opening up a lot. And so that's why you feel that pressure. And the Marys are sometimes around, by the way, around you as healing energies, as mothering energies, and as feminine divine power. So keep that in mind. Mr. Dream says, I feel like I'm extremely empathic. I just feel others' pain. I don't know why that is. So you can feel their pain as an empath. You can feel, it could be just that's where you easily tune into it. If you become the observer rather than the absorber, right? So stop absorbing that energy and just go, okay, that's theirs. It's not mine. I used to actually have to say that in my head, that's okay. That's their energy. It's not mine. And I was able to like release feeling it. I'm extremely empathic, so I do feel people's stuff too. This is what's helped me. A recovering Catholic, Ellen. I was born and baptized Catholic, so I try not to talk about religion because I just feel like sometimes if it works for people, I think it's great, but I don't know. Oh, thank you, Britt. Good. I do feel bad though, because like I was talking to my friend yesterday, who's the reason why I started doing readings professionally and really tapping into my abilities rather than just having them happen to me. She said, man, I get lost. Sorry. She said that we were talking about, she's like, well, what are your goals here? And I said, I just feel bad. She said, why do you feel bad? And I said, because I want to help people and I don't want to be wrong because I don't want to let people down. And that's, I really do. I've had people on here. I usually block them so you guys don't necessarily see all the messages, tell me to take my meds and everything else. I'm not here to trick anybody or make anybody feel terrible. I really am here just to be a source of guidance or help or a sounding board, whatever. Hi, Nicolina. You manifested a dream about certain person by making a signal and putting it under my pillow. Same dream came true for 2 days. What? Wait, I guess I'm missing this. So, well, you set the intention. It's not crazy. I set the intention for if I'm not hearing an answer to whatever I need, or because I can't get past my ego, like the nervousness of it, because it's something very close to me, I'll tell my guides to send it to me in a dream. Let me see the answer or the results to this in a dream. Help me find my connection in a dream. So if I'm having trouble with a friend or whatever, show me the outcome of this, show me where it's going to be. I may not always remember it at that time, but then what happens is when that moment comes to pass, I'll remember that I dreamt about it, and it gives me a sense of calm that everything was okay and that I was in a good space. It's sort of validation. Thank you, Susan. Oh, Susan, I'm not doing readings today. This is just a discussion, a short discussion, sort of to provide oh no, don't worry. There's a lot of Nicolina. There's a lot of stuff around here where people say, like, someone posted on one of my videos that I need to watch out how I'm telling people how to manifest things. But when you pray, like in a religious sense, and you ask God to bring you healing or whatever, you're manifesting that, right? You're asking with faith, which is what faith is believing before it's received. So you're asking with faith that this come to pass, right? So that I get a job where I'm more lucrative. And that's what the law of attraction is. You're asking it as if it's already there, asking for it as if it's already there. So when you set an intention about somebody or whatever, you're not becoming some crazy mystic. You're using your abilities that you're connecting into. So you set an intention with a dream that I want to dream about this person, and then it happens. It doesn't mean you're practicing witchcraft. You're just setting the intention the universe is providing. Nicolene said, why is my third eye feeling pressure when I read about occultism? Is that a sign? No, you're just opening up your own psychic intuition. And so when you're doing that, if you're reading about occultism, one, I feel like actually you probably had a past life connected to it as probably a witch. But two, it doesn't mean I would say as it's opening up, trust what you're getting. So if you're getting whatever you're getting through your vision, through your third eye, or your mind's eye, trust that, and trust then also that if it feels good, it's okay. If it doesn't, it's not. It's very simple. It's a pretty basic. Oh, wow. Mystic Dreamer said, I've had an ND that was very eye-opening and probably the most profound experience in my life. Did you find, because I do belong to an NDE group on Facebook, not that I've had any, I just find them fascinating. And I also find that it's sort of what people post about NDEs ends up validating some of the stuff I've gotten psychically and intuitively from my own guides. Did you find that you became more connected through your intuition and through your psychic abilities after you had your NDE? Yes. Yeah. Is there something you wanted to share with everybody? Like what was most profound or eye-opening? I'm just reading the things. I know that like on YouTube, they say, I guess you're supposed to like look at the camera the whole time. But if I do that, then I can't read your comments. If anybody else has anything they want to share or discuss or questions of their own psychic experiences or thoughts on anything mystical. My hair is wet, so I'm always doing this to try and help it dry a little more. It takes forever. Now, okay, Nicolina says, I'm also getting hints before anything happens, not really clear visions, but only words written like a computer. That's really cool. So as you get those hints before it happens, just acknowledge them. That's the biggest way to start opening up and developing your intuition. So your psychic side is not something that's profound. Everybody has an intuition or psychic side, but you sort of have to create your language. And so if you acknowledge that, okay, oh, thank you for doing that. Or as they're knocking on the door, the universe knocks on the door, your guides, spirits, whatever. If you acknowledge them, then they recognize that the door is opening. And so you'll continue to get more psychic insights and hits or connections. So recognize them and also put a definition like, okay, when I see this, it means this. So then they know that and they're connecting in that way too. Hi, Stephanie. Um, Sock Monkey says, I believe my empathy increased after I developed PTSD. Is this common? I'm trying to think. So it may be that you became more aware of things. Did you start doing, I mean, I hate to say this, but did you start doing therapy after you developed your PTSD and start kind of like working on the other blocks that you had, like the more emotional blocks that you had that weren't connected to spiritual things? Because as you do that and you make way for it, then you start to connect in. I know that after I started dealing with some of the trauma that I had, I found that I became way more empathic than I ever was, the same thing. And I think it's because as we go through healing processes, we learn from them and we also learn how to help others heal. So we take our own traumas and we learn to help others deal with those as light workers. Julie, on my 60th, Julie Owens, I just want to say this. Your energy does not feel like that. You feel much younger than you said your age was. So on my 60th birthday, the ice on her leg was in the shape of a heart. It felt like it was a sign from my mom. Oh, it was. It was, and trust that. Susan says, I'm trying to learn tarot, but it's not clicking yet. Any suggestions? So I don't do tarot formally. So I do it kind of just for myself or as a validation of something I might be getting where I can't get a validation any other way. There's a link. I'll post a link to the on here afterwards. There's a link. I can't remember what it is. It's like Learn Tarot or something like that. And I really like this person's definitions of how to use them. But then I also kind of look at, I found that going to, I think it's Rider Waite or whatever, the most traditional tarot, and kind of looking at that and trusting my own intuition for it. I feel like it takes a lot to get it to click. It's like astrology for me. I look at it and it's just like Russian and it's too many things to try and remember. That's sort of why I started doing readings the way I do, because I didn't want to have to study. I just wanted to like get it. Stephanie, can you feel someone else's emotions and take on the stress? I think I can feel people's energy even before talking to them. Yes, you can. And I do this a lot, sometimes without even knowing it. And you can. And sort of ask your guides, if you're in the moment where you're not sure if it's yours or connecting to someone before they've connected into you, ask your guides to give you validation for that. If it comes out of nowhere where you're feeling totally fine and then all of a sudden you feel really sad or really stressed out and there's nothing you can connect in your immediate experience to it, it's probably your intuition and connecting it empathically to somebody else. Just recognize that and move forward. Keep yourself busy, move forward. Recognize this probably isn't mine. The universe is going to validate it. Set that intention. The universe will validate to me that this is not mine. Or if I need to hold on to this, the universe will validate to me that this is important for me to hold on to. When you're around somebody and you sense their pain or their emotions, recognize this isn't mine. I didn't have this before I set this person. I don't need to feel it, or if they're talking about it. It's okay to cry with somebody, right? It's okay to have that empathy, but you don't have to hold on to that and feel terrible about it and have it drain you. So if you can recognize this is not mine, I don't need to hold on to this, even consciously saying that to yourself in your head will make a huge difference. Oh, Sockmoney said, yes, it took several years. Yeah, sometimes it does take that weirdness it takes a while to sort of identify and put names to things. Hang on. Stephanie says, can you feel someone? Oh, yeah. Nicolina said, can I categorize my current spiritual state so I can search or learn more about it? Can you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean by your current spiritual state? And I might be able to help you a little bit better. And you can develop tarot. Like I said, I'm going to, I'll post that link to it. I always say, because for me, I like the back and forth and the discussion, like, how do you understand this? So I would say it's so much more common now. Look for either an online class, an online course for learning tarot. Don't spend a ton of money. Go on YouTube. There's tarot classes that people do videos on it. That's what I would say is the best thing. And then also just trust your intuition, read into it intuitively. Mystic Dreamer says, I don't know, my dad was there and some others off in the distance. There was a light. I could see my body on the bed and people around me. This is about your NDE. And heard, felt a voice, a very commanding voice that said, it's not my time. You still have stuff to do. What did your sense was just about that, it being fully loving over there and accepting and Julie, oh, you're welcome. She said because I said she felt much younger. She said she's taught young kids for so long. She thinks she acts younger. That's not a bad thing. Libra girl, I'm not doing psychic readings right now. This is just a discussion, and I'm probably going to end it in about 10 minutes or so. Just kind of like your own spiritual experiences, looking for validation of some things you've gone through or how to open up psychically. Hi, Yasmin. But hi, you guys. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Yeah. Mystic Dreamer said, yeah, she felt that. I don't even know if you're a man or a woman. I just keep thinking you're a woman. By that, Nicolina said by that, she means she has hints, visions, feelings of other energies. When they ask me a question, I can recognize intention and what they want to know. Pressure on my third eye. By the way, can you guess my age? I can't. So I would say look for a psychic development class near you. I keep getting connected to the Midwest with you, but or if you look for a spiritualist church, not spiritualism, but a spiritualist church. So I would say, because again, with this stuff, you really need something where you have a back and forth and a validation. So you can do so much on reading and stuff like that, but you really actually need to be physically practicing it. Rosewater, yeah, sometimes they can look scary. I don't know. I mean, I've had spirits come to me because sometimes the body, you can travel in and out of your body as you're in the process leading up to passing. And I've had spirits that I knew and that were not scary, but they were just kind of imposing enough to where it kind of freaked me out. So sometimes they can be, I wouldn't say scary. I would just say they can look different and they may not present themselves as in this form, even if they're good. So you can also ask them to pick a form that feels more comfortable to you too. You're 18. Well, thank you for being 18 and joining me. Geez. Oh, you're a man. Well, there might be a divine feminine energy to you. That's why you're opening up. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And so like energy feels different to me. It doesn't always feel like when people say, what am I having? I'm like, sometimes I feel more of a feminine energy if I see purple, but it may be a little boy that ends up being more empathic, loving, not that warrior spirit. It's just a way for me to designate. But that's amazing. And congratulations. Oh, your birthday's Saturday. Happy birthday. Happy last year of your 30s. 40s are great. Does that make you? That makes you a Libra. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily, Nicolina, you can say like, oh, so you're going to be a clairvoyant. You're going to be probably clairsentient because you're feeling energy, and you're probably a little bit clairaudient because you're hearing the questions and understanding, and claircognizant. But you could I would say, find a psychic development class in your area. That's like, if you're in the New York area, I really like Holistic Studies Institute. That's where I went. They really do a lot of intensive work over weekend workshops. That works for me. But one of my daughters is a Libra, and she's really funny because I used to give her an option between two different things. I'd say, you can have this or this, and she'd be like, it's too many options. So I feel for you. It must be hard at a restaurant. You don't have any psychic development classes anywhere near you. I just have internet and library. What should I start searching? So start searching psychic development, start searching how to trust your intuition, start searching opening your third eye, connecting in with your third eye. And I also really recommend when someone's first developing to write everything down. So write every experience you have down because it validates it for you. And then really just understand that you're developing your own terminology and your own dictionary of a new language. And if you have trusted friends that you can open up to about that, if you get something intuitively about them, share it with them. If you randomly start thinking about them and you kind of get like a little buzz about them, ask them if it's okay that you do these things, because you always want to ask permission. You don't want to impose. Say like, hey, I'm randomly thinking about you and I sort of feel like maybe you're sad. Is everything okay? Just do that because it'll start to open up your own abilities. I've often thought about like making a course and putting it online. I have to figure out how to do that. I don't know how to go about that. It seems like everybody does that and it's very easy for them, but I literally have no clue how to do that. So that's what I'll be doing. Mrs. Dreamer said, oh my God, I'm like that when I'm buying stuff in the store and at the store. I'm like, this one, no, this one. Yes, you can't figure it out. You're like, oh my God. Mr. Rusty's, or is it Rusty Z? I've tried meditation to meet my spirit guide, but never seem to manage to get anything. Any advice, please? Ask him to meet you in your dreams. If I can't get it in a meditation, I always ask him to meet me in my dreams and to help me remember that dream. That always seems to be like my go-to thing. Have you tried different meditations? That's the other thing I can say is like, for some reason, some people's meditations work better for me than others. That's another, one of my friends is insisting, my friend who got me starting this, that I need to start putting more meditations up on here, even though that they don't get watched a lot, but that they're going to be helpful for some people. So maybe I'll do one where you meet your guide and see if that helps you. Again, I don't always know who my guides are. I just have a sense that there's a group of more masculine energy or a group of more feminine energy around me. And I go with it. I don't worry about it too much. Oh, thank you, Julie. Okay. Nicolina, what's your opinion on therapists and mental health connected to gifts, visions, and stuff? I love therapy. I think therapy is a gift to yourself and everybody should go, really and truly, because there is so much that we do subconsciously because of traumas or past belief systems that have been ingrained in us. And when I was looking for my own therapist, when I was at a crisis moment and I just needed someone because I was desperate and I didn't want to fall apart for my family, I researched, therapists and metaphysical beliefs, or therapists and spiritual therapists, something like that. I went to a licensed social worker. She was a therapist, a licensed therapist, and she was amazing. And when I talked to her about being psychic, because I didn't want to say like, I'm psychic and I see things and I hear things and have them go, here's some medication. She was amazing. And it was the best gift I could have given myself. So I totally believe in them. I just believe that you have to find the right one. And I do think that there are some mental health things that are connected to spiritual things. And I do think that there can be a conjunction. I don't want to say no meds ever, but I think that there can be healing done. You can find a therapist that'll work with you without meds and determine whether or not you need them or not. That's not for me to say. I do think that there can be some anxiety things when you're connecting into spirit, but I think that there's other connections to it. But if you can heal the source of that and you can get to the root of the source of that, then maybe you don't need medications. But I'm not going to say no, they're bad, or it's like it's not a this or that. It's kind of a combination. So Mystic Dreamer, if you let go of the need, she said, I've been having a hard, or he said, Wait, is that right? Oh my God. Yeah. He said, I've been having a hard time letting go of dream or remembering the dreams. Let go of the worry about remembering it. Trust that the download is there and the information is there and it'll come up when it needs to. That's sort of what I do. Nicolina, you're on medication since 2015, like a lot. So maybe you need them. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. So that's something to explore with your therapist. That's something to explore and say, like, I'm really connecting spiritually. I'm starting to sort of discover my own spiritual path. And these are the things I believe. Maybe that therapist isn't a fit for you anymore. Maybe you need to find somebody who also believes in the spiritual end of things. I will tell you, I know a lot of therapists, like as friends, and a lot of them are more spiritual than maybe they necessarily open up about. And I've actually had a lot of therapists come to me for readings. And a lot of them are more open to this stuff than they necessarily can talk about from a legal standpoint. So if you open up, that's something to discover. Susan said, I noticed a lot of YouTube or a lot of psychics or psychologists and homeopathic doctors. Isn't that cool? So what happens is a lot of times they go into their practice and they're like, well, I have this spiritual belief. And then they recognize some other things and they start to open up in different ways. A lot of us humans in this experience are psychic. And I think it's really beautiful when they use their own intuition, their own intuitive connections to help heal others or help others heal themselves. Because really, we don't heal others. They heal themselves. We give them the tools to do it, whether it's in a spiritual sense or in Libra Girl, I'm not doing psychic readings today. This is just a discussion about kind of forming a spiritual community. I'm going to be, Mystic Dreamer says, I'm going to be going back into the therapist soon, but I'm thinking about finding a tarot therapist, someone who is a therapist but uses tarot as I've never heard of a therapist using a tarot as a tool, but if you can, go for it. Because if they're a licensed therapist, they have other tools to really help you. Oh, good, LG. I'm glad I'm covering a lot of your questions. You're welcome. I've actually, Julie, I've actually never done A Course in Miracles, and I've read a lot about it. Hi, Diane. Mr. Dreamer, you found out about it yesterday. Oh, well, cool. I guess we all find things when we're meant to find them, and we come upon things when we're meant to come upon them. It's okay if you read the title wrong. You weren't the only one. Yeah, no, I just so Julie says it. A Course in Miracles covers spiritual and psychology, and that is really cool because I sort of feel like there's when I first started doing readings, my growth came in different ways. So I would just say, like, if I got a mom who came through for spirit and she maybe wasn't the nicest, I'd be like, oh, she's a real B. And then, like, as I did my own healing and my own therapy, I started to see that, like, oh, and as I just grew in maturity as an adult, I started to see, like, oh, I would see a bigger picture and like where the trauma came from and where it came from generationally, so that I could help in a bigger way rather than just saying this, which isn't very helpful. Like, yeah, I know she was, but. Oh, that's really cool. Well, then maybe I'll have to pick it up. Julie said she's on her 4th time reading A Course in Miracles, and she's learning something new each time. I think also when we reread things, we learn something new because we've had our own growth and our own wisdom, and so we see things in a different way. You know, life is really truly all about perspective. And, you know, you can be having a rough time and have a healthier a perspective, a more positive outlook, and say, well, I'm going through this. In fact, I used to tell my therapist, if I had a fight with my husband, I said, I'm at the point now where I say I'm grateful for having this fight, because I know at some point I'm going to be able to use this growth to help somebody else. Not that I want to fight with my husband, who, you know, but still. the first time you had a hard time getting through it. Well, then it shows you too spiritually how you've grown and healed. Mystic Dreamer says, I need to go on this spiritual something inside of me has been telling me to do this for about the past 2 years. Well, because even though you had that NDE and you started living a healthier lifestyle, we heal in phases like a onion peeling away, right? There's different layers to an onion peel or different layers to it. I like artichokes. So there's different layers to an artichoke, and you sort of, get to the meat of it over time. It's not something that happens all at once. I think it would be too overwhelming to heal all at once. I mean, what's the point of being here, really? I'm glad I'm helping you. Your spiritual journey, yeah. Oh, I know what you meant. Sorry. I saw the typo. I have typos all the time. I'm like, ugh, big thumbs, little keyboard. And then I have one of my daughters is very literal right now. She's like, Mom, you. And I'm like, they know what I meant. LG, your mother has Alzheimer's. You need to prepare. She's also, so this is what I've experienced. Now, other people will tell you their own different experiences. I talk from my own experiences. When people are crossing and preparing to cross when they have Alzheimer's, they're sort of actually in and out of body. They do a lot of astral traveling. I actually had my step grandmother show up in my kitchen, staring at my fridge, looking confused why she was staring at the fridge. They kind of go in and out. That's why they're not fully there. And then when they cross, they usually take a little bit of time to heal and kind of like acclimate over there before unless they were super spiritual. But for the most part, I don't want to say this is how it is all the time, because there's always the outside part of that. You feel that she's doing that, and she is. And she'll do it more and more and be gone longer and longer as she gets closer. That's my spiritual speak. Now, someone on here is going to say, watch this, someone random person, because I know I'm kind of hard to find. I don't have a lot of subscribers yet, but I love all of you for being here. And I'm grateful for all the ones I have and my new ones. But some random person was like, that's not science. I get it. But I'm speaking from a spiritual sense, what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry, Mystic Dreamer. I think even if you know the day and time, like even if I could say to you, this person's going to pass on this day at this time from this, even if you knew, you're never really prepared. It doesn't work that way. Your heart and your emotions and your connection, you can't wrap your head around it. It's not, emotions don't make sense. It's not a meeting you can schedule. Can angels or spirit guides take the appearance of people we know? My niece was spiritually attacked while dreaming. She got rescued by someone with my face and who was surrounded by light. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Now, this ring in the ears mean a spirit is near. I actually feel like when my ears ring, I'm actually getting a download from, like sort of doing an ascension process and part of like developing in order getting ready for whatever new connection I'm going to have or healing I'm going through. You've already set up a code. Okay. Oh, so that she can connect with you when she crosses. That's really lovely. And I've actually had situations happen. No, I'll talk about that. But I think that we can actually out of body travel when we're dreaming too and help others. So it could have actually been you subconscious, like without knowing it, going and helping her. All right, guys, I'm almost at an hour and I have a few things to do to get ready before my daughter wakes up from her nap. I sometimes hear her. So I'll ask this last question, Rose, and then I'm going to bounce out of here. This was helpful. You sometimes hear someone calling my name, but I don't have a common name. Has that happened to you? Oh, yes. When your clairaudience starts to open up, I used to hear it as I drift off to sleep. I'd hear hello. And you're not crazy. It's one of your guides or spirit connecting with you. Most likely one of your guides. Just say hello. That's all. As they start to talk to you and as you start to acknowledge them, if I just kept knocking on your door and you never answered the door and you never acknowledge me, I'd stop knocking on your door eventually, because who wants to do that? So if you just acknowledge them, that's really the best thing you can do. And you're welcome, Diane. Okay, so everybody who joined me here today, thank you so much. I hope that you would please, please, please subscribe and like and hit the bell so you know when I do these again. If you like this, put a comment after this is done that you enjoyed this and you want me to come back again, if this is a good time. I try to do things, if you haven't guessed, when my kids are sleeping. So if they're awake, I can't talk to you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your weekend. I will see you on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here, live for your psychic questions. Okay, have a great one. And I'm my spiritual friend, Annalisa.